people like me. You need people like me so you can point your fucking fingers and say, that's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy. That's the bad guy.
Welcome to the motherfucking relay. We're covering today's top boxing news.
Not like her. Unfortunately, she got a defeat because she underestimated. That's what happens when you get content. That's what happens when you think everything is going to be given to you.
She has a defeat to the same woman that defeated Franchon, though you'd never know it from how Franchon is carrying on. And the only reason that Savannah's getting a title shot is because Franchon is giving her one voluntarily, knowing she has a mandatory challenger in the queue.
Don't pretend you're standing on principle because you're not.
Jadeja's been pursuing a fight with Franchon long before this fight got made, and Franchon wouldn't give her the time of day.
Why is that?
You let somebody come in your hometown and beat you, dog walk you, and that is not Alicia Baumgartner's word, but you let somebody come and take something that you thought was yours because you got complacent.
You got overconfident. You thought you could fight Claressa Shields on short notice. It didn't work out for you any more than it worked out for Savannah.
That's you. That's not me. I don't have to deal with that. You don't have to say anything. You feel my energy. So
that's not me blaming him.
So how you going to make it right on a whole different fighter?
Savannah Marshall and the people over there at Boxer and Sky Sports pursued a second fight with Claressa, but it was Claressa that was insistent it happened in America, not in the UK. Boxer don't operate in America.
Claressa knows that.
So does Franchon. She's just being obtuse.
You're nothing like Claressa.
So how are you going to make it right on me?
You're nothing like Claressa Franchon.
Yeah, I know.
I think that was an important tidbit. Today's press conference. Franchon Cruz is telling herself that because Claressa went in there with Savannah and beat her, that she's going to have that same success. But that's not a foregone conclusion because Franchon Cruz ain't Claressa Shields.
It's the truth. She's not an Olympic double gold medalist, and she's not a three-division champion.
Claressa may have beat Savannah, but she also beat you.
Just because you're buddies now, that doesn't change anything.
You're nothing like Claressa, and you're not going to dog walk me at all.
I enjoy the back and forth between the fighters, the banter. It all adds to the spice, adds to the flavor. I enjoy that, but one of these fighters is being disingenuous, and it's not Savannah.
Franchon's acting like she's standing on principle when you essentially swerved Jadeja Green for months, many months, so that you can fight Savannah.
Being the loudest person in the room doesn't change that.
You're chastising Savannah, saying that she's accustomed to being given things, but you're the one giving her the shot.
You got some
like that
confidence
one?
now.
You like that one?
Yeah, I need that.
I brought it. It's got
I
spicy.
need that.
We're here.
Jadeja didn't all of a sudden start calling out Franchon Cruz. She's literally been calling her out for months, many months, long before this fight even got made. And Franchon didn't want to give her the time of day, but she had all the time in the world for Savannah. Why is that?
So that you can then criticize her for a title shot that you're giving her?
How does that even work? It's disingenuous.
It's dishonest.
How can you say that I sat on my lazy ass and didn't create an opportunity when you fight on the card that I'm co-promoting? My name is the Heavy Hitting Diva Promotion.
Co-promoting because no one else wants to promote you.
Franchon says that she's co-promoting this show as if she's bankrolling it in any way. All the money, all the finance in association with this show is coming from Savannah's promoter, not Franchon. Franchon isn't paying Savannah.
I don't know if she thinks she's kidding.
Having your name on a poster is not tantamount to actually paying for the show and making it possible, making it happen.
It's not.
Hey, baby, but listen, how am I sitting on my lazy ass not creating opportunities when you got hustle personified right here?
It's American arrogance. Savannah Marshall doesn't need Franchon Cruz to box on a major platform, but Franchon does need Savannah, and that's the inconvenient truth here. It was Franchon asking to fight Savannah Marshall immediately after the Shields fight, not the other way around.
Savannah had the option of fighting someone else, but who was Franchon going to fight on a major platform?
Don't ever play with me or play with my name.
There's no one else in the division.
Because you know
there's
why?
No one else.
Let me tell you something. I self-manage myself.
Because no one
For
else
90% of my career, I made deals with Golden Boy. I made deals with all these other...
And what happened to the deal with Golden Boy? Why didn't Matchroom pick her up after she boxed Andy Ruiz on DAZN? The truth is that Franchon needed Savannah to box on a major platform because without her...
She wouldn't be here now. She probably wouldn't even be fighting.
Good on you.
When you had things handed to you.
There she goes again with the poor me narrative. Let me tell you something about Franchon Cruz. She got 2 of the 4 major titles she's holding by boxing the same woman.
For 2 vacant titles.
Boxing Maricela Cornejo for what were 2 vacant titles.
It's not like she had to go through this gauntlet of killers in order to become an undisputed champion.
No one knew you were till you called me out on that show. Now all of a sudden you're trying to sell this.
That's why I think Franchon is being disingenuous. She's acting as if Savannah is being afforded a shot that she doesn't deserve when she's literally the one affording her the shot. If you really wanted to stand on principle, you would have fought Deja a long time ago because she's been calling you out for months. This is what you chose.
You think Savannah doesn't deserve the shot, then don't give her the shot and move on.
You got promoters like Ben. Shout out to Ben, who still give you opportunity that you don't deserve.
There she goes again. If she really feels that Savannah does not deserve an opportunity to fight for undisputed, then why is she giving her one?
Why didn't Franchon give that shot to Deja?
She was asking for it, but Franchon didn't want to give her one. The truth is that the outcome of this fight will not be decided by who raises the more valid talking points at a press conference, but Franchon is being disingenuous.
You better kiss my feet and be happy I came to the ring to give you opportunity. You should be happy.
You called me out.
Happy.
That's the difference here.
Let's-
She
hey,
called me out.
let's talk.
She's making out like I
Do I
begged her
need-
for this fight.
There's literally footage of Franchon Cruz ringside immediately after the Shields fight, calling out Savannah Marshall. She's the one who asked for this. Now she's making it out like she's given Savannah an opportunity.
Like Savannah begged her.
Saying that Savannah doesn't deserve the shot, but then why did you offer it? And why are you here now? You've got a mandatory in the queue.
She called me out.
Listen.
That's the difference.
But listen.
So all this crap I've had stuff given to me on silver platters.
But when
no,
those pound for
there'd
pound
be a little
lists,
pop-up
they don't
shop
put me
in
on it.
the AO Arena selling garments.
Somebody should have told Franchon Cruz that being the loudest person in the room doesn't make you right.
You're a hypocrite.
If she wins or loses on Saturday, she's still a hypocrite because Savannah's only getting that shot due to Franchon offering it.
Can the poor me routine.
She just sounds jealous to me that Savannah has a major promoter behind her and she doesn't, because it's not Franchon paying for this show, it's Boxer, it's Sky Sports.
As much fucking shit as she's talking, she fucking better win on Saturday.
Gonna be a hard pill for her to swallow if she loses.
In other news.
Confirmation of what I've been telling you all along. Tyson Fury will not be fighting Alexander Usyk in December in Saudi Arabia, I'm told by Frank Warren. He said the Saudis may postpone their plans to January, so Fury is pressing ahead with a fight in the UK. Warren hopes to make Fury versus Daniel Dubois for Undisputed next year.
Frank Warren is still crossing his fingers and clenching his sphincter that Daniel Dubois can pull off a miracle in Poland.
That Daniel can beat Alexander Usyk, take his belts, which would result in an in-house fight, an in-house situation between Queensbury Promotions fighters,
No.
Queensbury Promotions champions.
No.
In that scenario, myself, I'm not optimistic. Daniel just isn't that good.
Anthony Joshua had 2 cracks at the apple with Alexander Usyk, and Anthony Joshua is a much more proven, much more experienced fighter than Daniel Dubois at a much higher level than Daniel Dubois in every arena you can imagine.
As an amateur, as a professional, Anthony Joshua is a 2-time heavyweight champion, a former champion now, but better still, a more put-together fighter than Daniel Dubois. So I don't like Daniel's chances, and I think it's all pie in the sky from Frank.
Wide-eyed optimism, that's all he's got left.
Saying that Tyson Fury's next fight will be a quote-unquote game changer, Frank Warren has teased. He said a deal is pretty much done, with an announcement expected in the next week or so. Asked Frank Warren,
Michael Benson did.
Tyson Fury versus John Bones Jones or Francis Ngannou could happen. Yeah, he's up for that. The type of money something like that could generate, why wait for people saying, wait until next year when you can make these fights now? Why wouldn't you do that now?
Why isn't he fighting Usyk in December?
How is fighting 2 MMA fighters, 2 MMA champions more important to Tyson Fury than unifying this division and making that history for the sport of boxing? You do a crossover fight in place of an Usyk fight. It's clear you're little more than just a businessman.
A fraud.
For years, Tyson Fury accused Anthony Joshua of being a businessman, not a boxer, not a pugilist, not a Spartan like himself. But if you put off Undisputed,
You're a fucking fraud.
imagine Anthony Joshua putting off the Joseph Parker unification so he can go fight a cage fighter. Imagine if he put off the Usyk fight.
They let this fat bag of milk get away with far too fucking much, I'm telling you.
If it's about the size of the pot, the kind of money that can be made, there's plenty of money to be made in Saudi for Tyson Fury, but it requires him to fight Alexander Usyk, and I've been telling you this whole time, He doesn't want to do that, and he doesn't like his chances.
He's hoping that somebody will come along and bump off Alexander Usyk.
Tyson Fury's next fight, according to Frank, is supposed to be a quote-unquote game changer. He said the deal is pretty much done with an announcement pending in a week or so.
How is this not a duck? How is this not a brazen textbook, according to Hoyle, duck?
He fought Derek Chisora last year for the third time, a pointless rematch that really had no precedence. When he fought him last year, it was supposed to be en route to an Usyk fight. That the only reason he's fighting that guy for a third time, a guy who he beat 2 times already.
He was supposed to just be keeping busy. That the only reason he's doing that is because he needs to keep busy fight because he's going to fight Usyk early this year.
It all turned out to be bullshit. That's what it all turned out to be.
This guy's ducking Usyk, hoping that somebody will come along and bump him off, whether it's Daniel or someone else.
What he's hoping for. You see how Frank categorizes these crossover hybrid circus fights with MMA fighters. Based on the money Fury stands to make, why wouldn't he? Why shouldn't he fight those fighters? And he shouldn't fight those fighters because he has a fellow champion waiting for him.
You're holding up the sport.
It's not that these pointless exhibitions and hybrid fights between boxers and MMA fighters aren't customary now. They are, but look at Floyd. Floyd didn't start having these exhibitions until after he retired from the sport of boxing.
He didn't put the sport on hold to fight MMA guys.
There were literally ranked fighters in the WBC's ranked standings vying for an opportunity to become champions, and the WBC themselves are actually enabling Tyson Fury to freeze them out, not moving down their ranked standings and ordering final eliminators between available contenders.
They ordered Wilder versus Ruiz late last year. The fight still hasn't materialized. When the WBC saw that, they should have just moved down their ranks and ordered 2 other guys to fight, because the show must go on.
Those guys are still paying you sanctioning fees. For what reason, I don't know. Since you're not ordering a fight between 2 other ranked contenders, why should they give you their money?
For what?
Why should Tyson Fury still be allowed to hang on to that title? If you don't want to unify it with Usyk's 3 alphabet titles, why don't you just retire and go fuck off?
Fuck off.
You're quite literally putting the sport of boxing on hold so that you can go make some quick cash in a circus fight.
Imagine Anthony Joshua putting unification matches or mandatories on hold so he can go fight MMA fighters.
As if there are no ranked fighters in the sport of boxing for Tyson Fury to fight fighters like Frankie Sanchez and Martin Bakoli, Guy Caballel, Michael Hunter,
Philippe Pagovic.
There are ranked fighters to fight for Tyson Fury, but Tyson knows if he ain't got a big name opposite the ring, he ain't no big draw.
It's all smoke and mirrors.
It's not a big draw if he doesn't have someone opposite the ring to help him sell it, whether it's a Dillian White, a Derek Chisora.
Remember when he came to America and fought Tom Schwartz? Do you remember when he fought Otto Wallin? Sold next to nothing.
Quested top rank millions, and now look at what he's doing. He's quite literally holding up the division, holding up Undisputed, holding up the sport of boxing itself.
Explain it. Why can he not fight Alexander Usyk in December? Why not?
What's stopping him? There's money. There's plenty of money.
Money's not an object. Money's not an issue. So why isn't he fighting that guy in December? Make it make sense.
Frank's saying they might revisit the talks in January. I'd sooner expect Alexander Usyk to fight Philippe Pagovic after Daniel Dubois, because Fury don't want no parts of this guy. He's just waiting for somebody to come along, knock him off, and then he'll start bumping his gums again about how great he is.
This is a duck.
This is a stone cold duck. There's no reason for Fury not to fight this guy in December. He just doesn't want to. And just in keeping with the theme of all things heavyweight, Deontay Wilder says short, fat T-Rex armed Ruiz will be non-existent if he passes on the fight. And unfortunately for Andy, I do think he's quite right. Things not having worked out with Fury and things not working out with Wilder would result in Andy Ruiz fading into obscurity.
What are his other options?
Let's ask Andy's dad what was the offer given, because we didn't talk about no money. So how does he know it was a 70-30 offer? I didn't talk to Andy's dad about any type of money whatsoever. Wilder said in an interview with Ellie Archback of ES News, said during a Boxing Wags Association charity event on Wednesday, Andy was only a champion for as long as the blink of an eye. I'm a 5-year, 10-title defense champion. There is a difference. What I possess is power. I put people on the edge of their seats every time. People come to see my God-given talent. Now, on the other hand, with Andy, what do we see from him? A short, fat fighter with small arms, so it makes him look fast. T-Rex. That's it. You don't put nobody at the edge of their seat, and ain't nobody getting excited.
I see people telling Andy to stand on his square 10 toes down, that he deserves 50-50.
But if these guys don't reach a deal, what's the alternative?
I asked that question several times in my previous video on this subject, and nobody gave me an answer because there isn't one.
You're not gonna make with someone else what you stand to make with Wilder, and even if what you stand to make with Wilder isn't exactly what you want, beggars can't be choosy.
You ain't got no options.
The only reason this fight will be exciting is because they want to see how fast I will knock him out, and that's it. I can tell you this though, soon you're going to see Ruiz become non-existent in the boxing world. You're going to see him on the shelf because he ain't gonna have nobody to fight. Andy is gonna be 33 years old, broke, and can't support his children because his daddy made decisions for him. He should make decisions for himself.
Sharp words from Deontay.
I don't have a horse in the race. I'm not high on either of these two guys. I'm just being realistic. The focus of 2023 for Deontay is not Andy Ruiz. So if the fight falls apart and it doesn't happen, he can still proceed as planned. But what about Andy? He hasn't fought this year.
This don't happen, what, he goes back to the PBC, fights Frankie Sanchez? You know he could lose that fight. He could lose to a Frankie Sanchez for far less than he'd make losing to Wilder.
Situation like that, the Ruiz people might look at Frankie as a high-risk, low-reward and elect to not fight him. Though if they don't, what do they do? Who do they fight? What's the alternative? That's the question.
Who's got the answer?
The Joshua fight is looking promising, said Wilder. I've also got other offers as well overseas and stuff like that. So nobody has got to worry about who I'm fighting because my life is very, very great. So don't worry about who I'm fighting and who I can fight because I can fight anybody in the world. They would love to see me come to their country.
Remember, he was talking to the people in Saudi.
And come see me in the United States, no matter what. Andy, that ain't no such case. So they've really got to think about this in the situation that they're in. Andy is nowhere compared.
Nowhere compared to me.
No levels at all, period. They're talking about 50-50. You ain't nowhere compared to me, bro. You were only a champion for a very, very short period in time. And you never successfully defended it or anything. So stop that. Like I said, if you miss out on this opportunity, it'll be the last opportunity. You'd better think about it.
Not telling you that Deontay Wilder's marquee value is head and shoulders above Andy's in America. I'm just saying that he has an alternative and Andy doesn't.
So Andy's got to think about this because Andy's not the one courting fights in Saudi Arabia for major cash. Andy's not the one with the option to face a former MMA fighter in Francis Ngannou, a former UFC champion. Andy doesn't have the alternatives that Wilder has.
That in and of itself is leverage, that one of these guys can afford to walk away from the negotiation table more than the other. You want to play chicken?
Those eggs are going to need more bacon. Andy just ain't got the juice. The two fights that he had, the Chris Arreola fight, the Luis Ortiz fight, box office fights that didn't sell much.
Wilder's fight didn't sell much.
But Wilder's on the eve of fighting on a major show. What's Andy going to do? Look at the landscape. Look at who's out there, who's available to him, and what kind of money that would offer. If Deontay Wilder's words seem sharp and mean-spirited towards Andy, it's probably because Andy's father called him a liar.
Wilder likely doesn't like that.
All is fair in love and war. Isn't that what they say?